Welcome to Deep Thought. Think on this. You know what? I was thinking about 20 years ago. I used to post a lot on this particular message board. And, I was rolling with a crew of brothers who we would post some deep knowledge. I mean, some deep stuff. And when this particular guy would post some stuff, he would end his long post, his informative post, with "think on this," and it's something I adopted from that dude. For many reasons, I don't want to call his name. I'll just acknowledge him in spirit, because let's just say some of those posts, it was some drama behind some of it. But he would say, "think on this," and that's something I borrowed from him. That was something I borrowed from him when I would start posting some stuff years later. And I don't think he wouldn't mind, because he had borrowed some stuff from me. It was that type of crew. We collaborated on many things. But think on this. And the whole purpose of saying that was, okay, I gave you this knowledge. Don't just take it in without thinking about it. Or I'm hitting you with a point of view. Think on this. And, and there's even been some posts, not as much recently, but especially a lot of earlier posts when I would hit people with some stuff and I would be like, think on this. And I know I've said it on maybe some of my earlier posts on this particular channel. Think on this. And think on this just means, okay, I'm giving you a perspective. I'm giving you some knowledge. Don't just take it blindly. Really think about what I'm saying. But then think on this can mean even more than that, going beyond it. Whenever y'all see anything happening, just think about it. Don't just say, oh, they're doing this. The theys are doing this, or the theys are doing that. Think on it. What's going on with this? What's happening? What's the bigger picture? I'm going to tell you what, and I've talked about this before. I've talked about when I was in high school. One of my teachers, may his soul rest in peace, he was interesting. He was an atheist that taught religion. He was an interesting guy. An atheist who taught religion. But one of the things he would have us do, even though he, most certainly didn't believe in God, he would actually have us do a lot of stuff that you could say was Christian. That was part of our curriculum, volunteering at a soup kitchen twice a year or twice a semester, volunteering at a soup kitchen and really just looking at what was going on in the world from a different perspective. He was a Vietnam veteran, and so he had a different perspective of life. He had actually volunteered for Vietnam. And he said something happened over there that just changed this entire perspective on life. And he would share that with us. And one of the things he taught us to do was to think critically. And I had talked before, there was a class he had given us, a homework assignment. We had to watch the commercials that came on during ABC News, specifically ABC News. Not the news itself, because, even back then people saw it as propaganda, but the commercials. And what that did was not only see what was advertised and what was maybe pushed by certain days, but it really, and I'll say this for myself personally, made me think about stuff. I didn't just take in any information blindly. I could see something totally random and pay attention to it. And I do that during this day. I think on stuff. Now, even at that early time, I didn't use that term, but that's what I would call it. You think on it. Even what I do. Don't just take the information I'm sharing, think about it. Say, why is he talking about this at this time? Is it random, or does Rom have a bigger picture? Which is interesting, because I remember on my other channel, somebody alluded to, is yeah, Rom, I'm starting to see the bigger picture, what you really doing. Yeah. Sometimes a trickster will do stuff in a funny way, but they really try and get you to see something else. So, hey, you know how I flow on it. Really think about what some comedians talk about. Different comedians. That's one thing. A really good comedian, some of the best comedians, they were actually doing political and social commentary. They were making you laugh, but if you sit back and think about it, you'd be like, wait a minute, hold up. You know? I'm not even going to call names. People get so huffy, but it was like, they do have some points. But at least think on it. Now, this don't mean you got to think a certain way on it. Like, one of the things I say on this side is I don't mind disagreements as long as they're respectful. I just want you to think about it. You know? I just want you to think about it. Think on this. You know, think about why I might be talking about this at this moment. Think on this. What's Rom doing? Now, I'll make it easy for you. My whole point is we need people to think out here. You know, we have too many blind followers. We have too many people who just accept something without looking at the bigger picture. And there's some examples I can use from YouTube, but unfortunately, since a lot of people just accept a narrative without really looking into it, it would cause extra trouble. So I ain't going to call any names, but I'll just say sometimes when I see an incident or some beef or something, I'll sit back and look at it and say, okay, yeah, they having that beef, or this person said this, or they did that, or they made this type of video. My first thought is, okay, why'd they do it? I don't get mad. I don't care what's said, even if something said that personally upsets me. I keep my heart stable, which is another way of saying keeping my emotions in check, and just say, okay, what's the purpose of that? Like, that's one thing. But I've always been that way. I remember when I was younger, people would question that. They would always say, you question a lot. Like my grandmother, she said, I never forget, she said when I was little, I was reticent. And reticent just means just quiet. She said, my grandmother said, kindergarten teacher was concerned because I wouldn't say it. I'd be the type to say, wouldn't say anything. But then when I say something, they'd be like, it'll knock people off their feet. You know, that's because I was thinking about stuff. You know, shoot, I've been accused of thinking too much. But you know what? I'm like, nah, I'm going to think about that. I'm going to say, why are you asking me to do this? Or what's the point of this? I got to see a reason. And even, like I said, even with what I say, think about it. Don't just say, hey, Rom, that's cool and everything. Like, think about it. I want y'all to think about it. I want to stimulate stuff. Shoot, there's some times, and that's something I do give many of you. Y'all hit me. Sometimes I'll put out something and y'all hit me and I'll be like, oh, shit. And even though I might just heart it, don't really say anything, I'm reading the comments and I'm like, damn, they hit me with some deeper stuff. And there's been a few times people hit me with something deep and that's like, yo, contact me. Seriously. I'll be like, contact me. Because that's all I want is people to think. We need more thinkers. We got too many followers out here. I think the world would be a better place if people just didn't follow blindly and at least think about it, because I'm going to tell you what, people in their hearts want to do good. People in their hearts want to do good. Even people who some people see as doing evil, they still doing good. But that's another conversation. And something I've talked about before. Well, you know what? I'll talk about it in the next one. You know? But yeah, you still want to do that. All right? You still want to think on everything. Think on this. Even think on what I just said. So anyway, that's all I have for now. Think on this. Peace and blessings.